Back in January, I said this. People in Boston be like, it was 60 plus degrees today. Must be climate change. I'm afraid of something every minute of every day. Jeff Tidwell in Boston be like, global warming is a modern religion. I'm agnostic. You have the confirmation bias blues. Relax and enjoy your January. Relax and enjoy your January. So we do observe our reality based on our preconceived notions of stuff. And after 30 years of hearing all about climate change, global warming, the green movement, I guess, I'm not sure, there's so many different names for everything, but it did change from global warming and global cooling to climate change. And I certainly have a number of videos on that. Like the relationship effects of climate change, check that out on BitChute. But I do feel that climate has really, it's one of those things, we have the fear of the sky, we have the fear. Now there's some real climate stuff happening, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm backed by science. This is an entertainment product. This is backed by science, so I understand that there's scientific backing to some of the climate claims. And so I do, though, believe that we are placing faith over reason when we emphasize climate change as a problem. I call it the modern religion of global warming, which isn't to say that climate change doesn't exist, isn't happening. It's not just completely faith-based, like not knowing where God is. He's not here, therefore he's, an atheist would say he's nowhere, an agnostic would say I'm unsure. But people use it as a way to complain, a way to say things are breaking down, a way to be afraid of something, to panic, to be a worrywart, to feed this sort of, I don't want to try to mind read or project, but there's something there. It seems that certain people tend to go more towards the climate stuff when they're already kind of depressed. I love to complain, hey, I love to say the sky is falling. That's just part of the laundry list. Along with everything else, like having an idiotic, imbecile president. Which president, you may ask? Well, whichever one is in office, as long as it's the opposite political party from mine. That means things are breaking down. So I came in, maybe a little sanctimoniously. Maybe a little sanctimonious. I say, Jeff Tidwell in Boston, be like, global warming is a modern religion, I'm agnostic. There's some moral superiority from a white person. Global warming is a modern religion. I'm agnostic. You have the confirmation bias blues, so relax and enjoy your January. Yeah, I don't think about climate. I don't go outside and see the sun coming through and the beauty of nature and the beauty of people out and about. My first thought isn't, shit, man. The sea level rise, melting ice caps. We might even have to eat bugs. Stop having children. All the things I go over in my tweet, Climate Change Solutions, which we did on their last video or a few videos ago. They have the confirmation bias that weather and climate are two separate things to begin with, but there's a sort of, well, climate change, yeah, how about that climate change, huh? It's almost compulsory at this point. It's almost automatic just to say, oh, it's climate change. We've done a really good job about mitigating pollution. I think pollution is a big problem. We've done a great job about advancing clean technology, green technology. Generation 4 nuclear power. We've been working on solar. I think wind is kind of not my favorite. And of course solar, they have the contracts. When you sign up for a solar contract, it's backed by oil. If the solar fails, you go to oil, and it's not necessarily the most environmental solution. But I do think that people really color their reality. And again, I can't project, I can't mind read, I can't have third person effect. I actually care for that very much, where you kind of assume what people know. I don't necessarily know or don't know anything about this, but basically that it must be climate change. There must be something that fits the narrative that they've built for themselves. I think that can be over time. It can be, to each their own. Your mileage may vary, but it can be a little bit destructive to their happiness quotient. They're assuming something's happening that they can't control. I talk about casual fatalism, understanding what you can't control and dealing, adapting with the things and changing things that you can, but adapting to what you can't control. But with this climate change stuff, it's like essentially looking up and saying, well, I have to pray that God doesn't smite me today. Climate change, climate change. At a certain point, I'm being a little bit dismissive and maybe condescending, and I apologize for that in advance. If you believe in climate change and want to chew me out and troll me and destroy me, please leave a comment below. The sky is falling, and they can affect it, so maybe that means moral virtue and universal truth on the other side of that modern religion. I don't know, and again, I'm not an expert, so certainly chime in with your thoughts if you have any. And we'll move on.